the space shuttle going up.
Hey,
But
everybody. Scott Pierce here at Listings to Leads. Welcome to the call. So it's Monday at 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock East Coast time. So we're talking open houses, making sure that you're ready for next weekend's open houses. And as you know, we've got a special guest today, Brian Mathieson, a longtime Listings to Leads client, team leader with LPT Realty. And he does some really cool stuff with open houses. So, Brian, thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Always love collaborating with you guys. So
Yeah, excited. Yee, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Yeah.
Yee actually did her first open house back in the business last week. So Yee might want to share a few things as well. Maybe you can critique Brian, give Brian some tips and back and forth. But I think if you guys, anybody here was in the mastermind group, you saw Brian post this. Was it this past weekend or the weekend before about the donuts?
Yeah. So last weekend, so one of my agents was doing an open house, and one of the things we always emphasize is throwing an event. It's not about opening the house and having the door unlocked. It's how can you attract people through other methods. So for the longest time, I had this idea of grilling hot dogs and offering free hot dogs on Saturdays. So that's how this kind of all started. And so we did free hot dog Saturdays, and I had a Facebook page, and it was showing up on things to do in Houston. And like anything, we get going and stuff, and it's challenging to stay consistent. So it's a lot of work to take a grill and a tent and ice and food, perishables, and all these things. So tried to look for some easier alternatives. So we started offering donuts or cookies or just something to get people in the door, even if they're not house hunting. So last Saturday I went and hung out with Thomas, that's on our team, and we had the free donut signs out. And we live in a large master plan community, and the free donut signs were out next to our open house signs. And Shipley Donuts, the donut store, messaged me on our office line and said, "Can you please take these down because people keep coming inside and asking for free donuts?"
Oh my God, that's so funny.
I kind of politely just said, "No, it's like, it's part of our marketing strategy. And after all, we did buy the donuts free from you." So they kind of laughed. And
yeah. So next time, tell them next time somebody comes in and asks for the free donuts, send them back to your open house and make sure they have your open house address. Right. So, and then you'll get a nice, or on the sign there, say free donuts at the open house. So you'll be buying a lot more donuts than we expect.
This past Saturday, we did 3 open houses in the same neighborhood on our listings. And Thomas and I met at the donut shop, and he had flyers printed out for our listings. So we kind of laughed with the owner, and we bought a couple dozen donuts, so they were fine with it.
Yeah. So do people like the donuts? I'm sure they do. I'm thinking, last time we were in Texas, what was that? Voodoo Donuts as well?
Yeah.
Right, and they got the line.
That thing is dangerous.
That goes
I hope I don't know. I don't know what kind of donuts you get. Like, probably just more like simple, plain ones. I mean, Voodoo is like insane. It's just gonna be very messy.
Yeah, we don't get any Voodoo donuts, but we do get just kind of a mixed variety. Kind of funny, this past Saturday, a lot of people don't want to eat, at the open houses. But this group of kids came by on their bikes. So like 6 kids knocked on the door.
Oh no.
And you've got to kind of figure out that's going to happen, right? So I was like, "No problem, guys, come in, get a donut." And I told them they were going to be, they had to do some marketing for us. So I gave each of them a business card, and I said, "You have to take this back to your parents and let them know how cool we were, like giving you a donut." So maybe they did it, maybe they didn't, but
well, hopefully they didn't clear all the donuts out. That would be, or there's always going to be an adult that would try to do that, right?
Yeah.
So some adult tries to get a donut into her purse, or some dude tries to stick one under his arm or something. It's like, dude, you've already had a couple of donuts, right? Chill with the donuts. But and it's awesome because in our open house mastery, we talk about having some sort of food, whether it's mixed nuts or something else that you want to bake. Donuts is awesome because when we were in Like you got Voodoo Donuts, I know, and there's other donut shops around where we live, where you go there on a Sunday morning and that line's going to be out the door, right?
Sure.
Especially if it's a little bit after church, when church gets out nearby the donut shop, and now you got like everybody from the church coming through. So do you find it helps? Now, you also did a event a couple nights ago where you had sushi.
Yeah, so it's kind of same perspective, right? How do we throw an event? So we actually we printed flyers, kind of designed these up on Canva. Yep. VIP first look happy hour. Now this house is a good friend of mine. He's we play golf together all the time, and I know a lot of people in the neighborhood either through the golf club or past clients and friends that live in the Woodforest subdivision. So this was we printed this up, trying to get it in the camera there, but we also put the nearby homeowner letter on the back.
Ah, perfect.
And so we folded these and put them in what I think you and I have joked about this before. We put them in the chicken bags.
Yep.
Are you doing that?
Because you're too chicken to knock.
I got mine right here. I got mine right here as well.
And so we delivered those throughout the neighborhood. We sent out text messages, invited a bunch of people, and you know, the goal of an event like that, I feel, is to show the neighborhood that you do things differently.
Right.
That Friday night open house isn't going to sell the house most likely. It actually turned into more of like a client appreciation event. You know, we had beer, we had wine, we had sushi from the local sushi place that everyone loves, and some cookies and things. And what's interesting is it was pouring rain. We had a really bad thunderstorm that started right at 6 o'clock, and I was like, I was texting the clients. I said, well, if anything, I kicked you out of your house to have a date with my wife, because we had beer, wine, and sushi. We had dinner, and we had 11 people come, so that was great. And in fact, did the open house on Saturday with donuts, and we actually got an offer on Sunday on that property. So,
did the person making the offer come through the open house?
They came through our Saturday open house. Yes.
Okay, awesome. So this is I got some images up here if you can see it. Yep. So I think this is from the evening event.
Yeah, and these are things we would have at the regular
showing. Yeah. Oh, it's nice.
Yes, the sushi there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And so when you did your open house last week, you brought mixed nuts and water. I think that was your very
little packets of chips. Yeah, I thought
the bags of chips and stuff.
Yeah, I thought about food, but I just didn't.
The food can be challenging. You know, we spent I think about $150 on all the food that we had there. Mm-hmm. And it's one of my favorite sushi places. So if it didn't get eaten, I was probably just going to
take home,
consume it myself.
Yeah.
So that wasn't a big deal.
Right.
And what we also do, I want to kind of share, is when we have a new listing, we have a strategy around timing. Our goal is to go live on Wednesdays, plan these events into the weekend. We don't do a whole lot of these VIP happy hours, but I'd like to do more of them.
Yeah.
The open house is always, or I say always, probably 90% of the time is 10 to 1 on a Saturday. And we follow a strategy. We also don't allow showings until our open house.
Got it.
So we restrict.
So you kind of build that momentum, right?
Yeah. You know, I see too many agents list houses on Fridays and show up on Saturday to do their open house, and they don't get any traffic, and they think open houses are terrible. I've done this for a long time, and we've always tracked our activity from, you know, the number of open houses that we do and the closings related to that. And it's typically a 1-to-1 ratio. So for every open house we do, we have some sort of transaction in the future, you know, related to the number of open houses we do. So,
dude, yeah. And I know, Gordon Day, one of our other clients, and he's doing the same thing. I mean, he's getting at least one, I mean, I think he's almost averaging
2.
1+, like almost
Mhm.
2 per open house, because he's getting, we do a lot of great marketing before the open house. I try to get his ads out like really the Tuesday or Wednesday before the open house. In fact, I'm telling people now, double the open house budget, because the ability to get people in front of you that you can actually talk to, so much better, right? If it's a just listed or coming soon or active, your standard budget, $50 or so would be fine. But when I got the opportunity to do a lot of great marketing, that's going to put me in the neighborhood and potentially in front of a lot of people, double up that budget, man, drop $100 on that ad.
And you may kill me for saying this, but when I use listings to leads, and I know that we're doing an open house on that weekend, I actually don't record the open house in listings to leads. I have felt that I get more lead inquiries by just running the normal, just listed or active properties.
Oh,
And so I don't, and that's just my personal preference. Um, I get those leads just through the normal marketing tools within listings to leads, and just contact everyone and say, hey, by the way, we're having the open house on Saturday.
no, as part of the follow-up.
Yes.
Interesting. So, all right, this is actually, I've noticed this for a while. The cost per lead for open house leads is a little bit more than just listed or active. Coming soon is also a little bit more than just listed or active. No idea why. It's just like a pending or anything for seller leads will also be, obviously quite a bit more money.
Right.
But yeah, open house, and I don't know what it is about the Facebook algorithm or anything like that, but whereas a normal, we try to do leads under $4 a lead. Open house average is probably 4 something per lead. So it's going to be a little bit more money. So if you're spending the same budget, it'll seem like a little bit fewer leads.
Yeah.
But if you got the ability and the discipline to make sure that you're letting every single person know that the open house is coming up with your follow up. But yes, anything that you can do to get people in front of you, right? And that's why we love door knocking, right? Door knocking is awesome if you're going to actually do that. The nearby homeowner letter is a great thing to door knock with.
Yeah.
But yeah, so whatever the strategies, but yeah, the key is to get yourself in front of potential buyers or sellers, getting yourself in front of these homeowners, because that's the point when you're using all the different marketing tools and listings to leads and also the open house mastery. We're going to not only generate more leads, but we're also going to engage a lot more people at the open house. So talk to us, and you use in fact, let me go back to that picture, because you use the print sign-in form. It might be a little bit hard to see here.
Yep.
But so Brian, we have the online version for the sign-in form. Why do you use the print version?
Yeah, so this is, once again, just strategy. One thing that I've always found awkward is when you do an open house and the people tour the property, and at the end you're asking for this feedback, and they feel awkward doing it. People don't like filling out things. It's awkward to ask them, I think. And so our strategy is to be very forthcoming. So when somebody comes into the door, we say, hey, welcome to the open house. I'm Brian. As you're walking the property, please, take notes and provide feedback so we can give that to the seller. And so we hand this right to them when they walk in, along with the listings to leads flyer, the listing flyer.
Yep.
And so I don't have it here next to me, but it's very strategic. And I have found that we get more feedback responses, and they fill out the information, I think, more accurately than doing the online form. So we're very purposeful in handing them a pen and just saying, hey, make notes as you walk the house, and we just get a lot more constructive feedback this way.
Yeah, you'll see in our open house mastery training, we definitely talk about having a clipboard with the listing flyer, maybe a summary of the neighborhood. And you did the exact same thing that Brian did. And I think you did it kind of based on what he was showing here.
I pretty
where
much
you had
follow Brian's. Yeah. I went to Home Depot, Office Depot, and bought clipboards.
Yeah.
Nice
so she had almost the exact same setup.
Yeah.
Yeah. These are the plastic ones on Amazon. I think you can get 10 of them for like $20 or something.
Plus, you don't have to worry about people bunching up, right? Because once you get somebody on the iPad, well, nobody else can use it, and no one's going to wait around to sign in, right? For heaven's sakes, that's not going to happen. So, and I know of other top producers, luxury agents that actually use the print version as well. And I think it's just a little bit, I don't want to say more sophisticated, but it's like, imagine Brian gives that setup about, here's the clipboard, here's a sign-in form, here's a almost like a feedback form the way you present it. Then you got the listing flyer with it. It's just much more comfortable for them to be able to just have something in their hand, right? They're eating their donut with their other hand. They get a little bit of grease on your sign-in form. That's not going to be the end of the world.
Right.
Right.
The other thing, when we were doing the hot dog cookouts, so I would be set up in the driveway with a tent and the Blackstone griddle, and so people would initially come right to the tent, right? They would see all the signs, and so this was the ticket for getting the hot dog. So I would say, Holly's inside, or one of the agents is inside. When you bring me the feedback form, I'll have your hot dog ready. So this was kind of the strategy behind the giveaway, right? And you can do giveaways or donuts or cookies or whatever you want, but they've got to do some activity before they
can get free food.
Actually, so imagine, I'm just thinking you got the box of donuts. It's almost like you could almost do that with that as well. Like get your free donut upon completion of feedback form or something like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely I would do that for the sushi.
You can't hang out a piece of fish.
Yeah, you get one piece free, but to get a second or a third piece, you got to complete the feedback form for me.
Scott, I did in our chat. I don't know if that's available to everyone on the call, but I put our open house checklist that I've put together.
Yeah. In fact, let me see where that is. In fact, I had it up early. Yeah, let me see in our chat. Where? In the StreamYard?
Yes. In the private chat, I guess.
Okay, 1 second. Yes. All right, let me bring that up.
And so, and we don't have to go into this in depth, but I would encourage everyone to have, their checklist. And these are the things that we do prior to the open house, things that you need to have in your kit. I mean, go get a bin, and this is your open house kit, and that's the open house survival kit that's got the different things in it. Do you have all your marketing materials? What should you be doing when you get there to prep the house? And then what should you do after the open house? And I've been doing this for 20 years. We do the same things over and over and over and over. And the consistency in our activities is what I think creates success. And so
definitely
use this as a template or make your own. But it's pretty
let me ask you, so before the open house, so you got update MLS date and time. So you do like what, Monday, Tuesday, you said Wednesday, I believe?
Our trigger day is Wednesday. If we're going to do an open house on the weekend, even if it's an existing listing and not a new listing, we start all of our open house activities on Wednesday.
Okay, perfect. So I always tell people start between like Monday and Wednesday at the latest. Do not, like Brian had mentioned earlier, right? There's all those agents that will not put the open house in until Thursday or Friday. Then they show up to an open house Saturday or Sunday and wonder why is my open house so substandard. Mm-hmm. I just don't get that, right? So, if you can start Monday beforehand, great. I've got an actual list all the way from Monday to Sunday of the different activities that you should be doing every single day. If you want to condense that down to a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday type of thing, that's completely doable. Well, so you got update MLS date and time, tour the home. So if you're going to borrow the listing you're talking about, or if you haven't been to the home yet.
Correct.
Yeah, definitely. Short form video from social media. Yep. So in Listings to Leads, we've actually got a short form video script, which is pretty good.
Yep.
You've actually been doing your videos, but I don't think that you got a video out today. So I'll have to talk to you about that a little bit later. we're trying to get you the discipline to make sure that we do a video every day. The Listings to Leads marketing starting Wednesday. So that is, I put the link into the chat. So that is at listingstoleads.com/open house. So make sure you check that out. So door knock Thursday. So Brian, show us that thing again that you had. So you had the one side, and so you got the nearby homeowner letter. And even if it's not your listing, that nearby homeowner letter, and I love the idea of doing the back of it. If you're going to do some sort of free donuts or hot dogs or something interesting to make it a little bit more engaging, consider doing a double-sided where on the other side you've got information about that. That'd be just make it more fun.
Yep.
Database marketing.
Can I ask you a question? So we tried the door knock and we found there's no doorknobs.
Oh yeah. So what do you do on the doors where they're a handle?
So it has the thumb latch.
Yes.
I just get that circle to kind of latch behind that thumb latch. The other thing that you can do is put rubber bands on that top loop and just do a once through with the rubber band and hang it.
That's actually what I was thinking to do it that way. So yeah, that was kind of my first thought was the rubber band idea, but I'll check the underlashing though. Yeah, perfect. Okay, thank you for that. So how many signs? That's one of the things I'll tell you. When I was an agent, I would have been mortified with the idea of putting out 10 or 15 or 20 signs. Just first of all, the embarrassment of it, right? Having the people see me doing all of this stuff when it's actually got to be the opposite, right? I mean, when you're out there, A, the signs really, really matter. And B, wave at people when you're doing the signs. So Brian, talk to us a little bit about the signs and your strategy with that.
Put them everywhere. And this is challenging, right? In Texas, it's hot. You don't want to necessarily go put signs out for an hour and be all sweaty when you got your I don't wear a dress, but I wear slacks or a golf shirt. But the ladies are wearing dresses. And so we try to put the signs out the night before and go ahead and get that completed. Obviously, it just depends on where you're doing it. I used to own a sign company, so I had unlimited ability to print signs. Signs aren't that expensive. We use 18 by 24 signs, and if anybody needs them, I can help you order them. I own an agency as well, marketing agency. So I just think that you've got to get them out there. It's not so much to get the buyer traffic. I feel like buyers know that they're going to go to the open houses already, but it's once again just putting your brand everywhere and showing the neighborhood what you do to sell properties.
Yeah, I definitely think so. So you don't have any problem with people stealing the signs or knocking them down or anything?
Not typically. There's some neighborhoods that with HOAs that don't allow them. So if you have an HOA type neighborhood, I would be calling the HOA management company and just checking ahead of time.
Right. Yeah, dude.
Do you make your signs different? Like other than the regular signs I see, like there's nothing special about them, or you know what I'm saying?
Scott, if you'll pull up in the Listings to Leads Mastermind group, our signs.
Let me see.
I find that signs need to be very simple. I think that a lot of agents try to put so much information on them. I think a big arrow and an open house and a phone number is all you really need on it.
Yeah. What about the address? Like, are you just pointing people to like keep follow? Like at this point, they'll know. Oh, there's the open house. They'll see another sign and another sign all the way to the open house.
Correct.
So, all right. Here's my question: how did people know that these donuts were from Shipley's based on that sign?
Well, it's funny because that sign was really close to the donut store. So That's probably why they call it that.
Got it.
I'm going to design actually some large circles with the donut printed on them, and I'll probably put free donut open house or something like that all in one sign.
Nice, nice.
So
and so for this kind of sign right here, the one on the left, like how long can that last? Like if I buy, like if someone buys 20 of them, will they last for? Now a lot of it is it raining, and you know how much use are you getting out of them? But like what 6 months, a year? What do you think?
Oh, it lasts a long time. I mean, they're only out there for the day.
Right. Okay.
You know, we're in Texas heat. I mean, they get pounded with heat, but that sign will last a long time.
Okay. I think this is something like, and Brian mentioned it, but the impact on your branding when people, you know, and I recognize the agents that do these kind of signs, and I would think this has got to be 10 times better, because what I see is a standard open house, and some of them are just like the red and white ones. And then there's a couple of people that do the open house with the free list of foreclosed homes or whatever it is as like a subline underneath it. But they're all just so generic. And if you've got the ability to swing, even in the beginning, maybe you can only afford 5 or 10 of them, right? And then later on, you can buy 5 or 10 more of them. But where you got like just a little bit of branding like that, like Brian said, keep it simple. You got your colors on there. He's got a logo, right, with his team name. Then he's got his brokerage right there, right? The phone number. It's not the idea. It's not really the matter that someone's going to call you necessarily. Although I'll tell you what, somebody may try to call you or text you, especially towards the end of the open house when, you know, they're trying to run over there and they don't want to miss you, right? I could see where that might be why they call or text you. But if I can see more of these signs around that open house where eventually there's 10 to 20 of these, this kind of sign right here versus the utterly generic ones.
Yeah. They will remember you for sure.
Oh, I think so.
I've seen the worst signs around the neighborhood, like literally the worst. They look like they've been abandoned or like from a trash bin. Like, no, they look so bad. Like I was thinking, all right, if you want to sell a home and this is where you present yourself, it's not very good image. It's just my personal.
Well, especially when like they do the A-frame for the open house, and it looks like something that's been beat up for in the back of the car for 3 years or something like that. So my point is just, you know, if you can swing something like this, I think that would be so worth the money. You know, because here's the deal. Also, you're going to want to make sure that you use them as often as possible, because there's no point in paying for 10 to 20 of these nice signs like this and not get your use out of them. You know, think about an open house is a complete, amazing reason and excuse to get as much of your branding out there as possible. And so I think imagine you got you got to open. Do you put an open house flag or balloons in the front of the house at all, or do you not do that?
Well, I've had them in the past. This is a new brand for us that we started a year ago. So I actually have Illustrator up right now. We're designing the open house flags.
Nice.
Oh, nice. With all the branding. That's fantastic.
I want to share just another quick idea. Scott, if you'll go to woodforesthomevalue.com, I have other signs they're actually 36 inches wide and 12 inches tall. And they say woodforesthomevalue.com open house today with the arrow. And I want people to think of like a marketing strategy, right? So instead of marketing like our team or your own name for the open house, market your home value website. So I bought the domain for a subdivision Wood Forest. So that goes right to my L2O landing page. And we're saying that it's a woodforesthomevalue.com open house event, right?
Oh, yeah.
So,
all right. Yeah. So everyone that didn't see that.
Better. This is a much better, smarter strategy compared to I've seen people, get your free list of home on the open house sign, right? Yeah.
So what Brian did is he's got Wood Forest Home Value right here. So that's the domain. And when you go to that domain, it's going to take you to the URL right here.
Yep.
Dude, that's a hot picture too. That picture looks great.
That's very pretty.
And so my goal there is to market that valuation website.
Where would you put that domain like on this sign right here? or where would you put that domain at?
I'm putting it on the link right now for this call. So I don't know if that's going to show up to you the best.
I'll put it like in the middle with the phone numbers.
Pardon me?
Like design it with the,
So these are separate signs. They're really
they're bigger.
Yeah,
you
they're
said
bigger.
A lot bigger.
They stand out, and my whole goal is to promote, property valuations.
But I know exactly the size because when our daughter graduated, we had all these different sizes for the graduation flag.
Oh yeah,
that's exactly they have. That's where I got the
I think that is so smart. Yeah, that's I like that idea. Let me go back to that. Hold on a second. Let me go back to this right here. So this is where, again, we're looking at Brian's mega open house checklist. Make sure you get, so at Listings to Leads, you got the open house marketing checklist. So that's going to be all the marketing activities you're going to do before the open house. Then we got open house mastery checklist. And that's the checklist that Brian is a little bit of a combination of both of ours. And he's got the open house survival part, which I think is awesome as well. So let's go through here a little bit more, because Brian, this was awesome, and you might want to take a look at this part of it, the survival kit, right? Mm-hmm. So you mentioned the clear storage bin, right? Have some wipes in there. I think that's absolutely smart. The pins, about Texas, you got wasp spray, mini broom and dustpan. That's smart idea, dude. We've all had stories where we just make up something happens at the open house. And the last thing you want to do is start going through their stuff and then leave the junk there. No, you want to just get everything out. I don't want them to even know something happened.
Yep.
As much as possible. So some good stuff here. And well, I think we can make this available. Brian, did you say we can share this with people?
Go for it. Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay.
So babe. Do you guys, can I ask a couple questions from the audience?
You bet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So Linda's session has a question. Doesn't the QR code put on the survey on their phone?
I'm sorry. Doesn't the QR code put the survey on their phone?
On their phone.
Yeah, it does. But then now you got the people, if they're trying to sign it, and you can totally do that. You can try it. There's no, you can totally do that, right? To say, hey, and I know that some people do, scan the QR code to access the sign-in form, right? I think what Brian, but do you want them like fumbling around on their phone or having a clipboard where they can kind of walk around? I would say just try both and see what one works best for you. There's really no right or wrong answer.
Let's look at the psychology of it too. When you put something in somebody's hand and they got to fill it out, they're less likely to put inaccurate information.
They just want to run through it real quick and just go to the open house. But if you tell them when they walk in the door, say, hey, here's our, we'd love for you to fill out this. People will take their time, go through there. And especially when you have 3 clipboards, like, okay, 1 each. They would totally do it versus go through the phones. I think go through phones is not, it turns people away.
I would, if I'm trying to be serious and I want to get their information, I would definitely do the print flyer myself, even. Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because again, think about it. If I'm on a tablet, personally, I got other people in my tablet, which I'm not crazy about to begin with. Then we got the problem of people crowding, right? The only one person at a time can use the tablet. And on the phone, I'd probably just scan it, take a look at it, and throw the phone in my pocket. I'm not even going to do it on my phone. But if I'm holding it, well, I got a pen, I got the clipboard, I might as well do something with it, right? And the sign-in form is pretty innocuous. There's nothing too laborious to do. The only problem that, Brian, you're going to have with me is trying to decipher what the heck I wrote. So that's going to be your biggest problem, but that's not my problem. That's going to be your problem after I leave.
Right.
Here's an interesting question for you. Somebody wrote the phone number. A lot of people write it very quickly, and their penmanship just not that great, right? Mm-hmm. So a 5 and an 8, you can't really. So you rather they put it down, they walk off. When is a good time you kind of verify that number with them? Because you look at like, okay, this, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So the other thing with the printed form is when they give it back to me, I can review it and ask those questions.
Okay.
What I also like to do is flip it over and make my own notes, like, what's their time frame to buy, just different questions that we might go through with people. And that way, when we have heavy traffic, I at least have a couple notes that I can, recollect the conversation that we had with those folks. So I would highly encourage doing the print version. That's my suggestion.
So you verify with them right away.
Yeah. Hey, I can't read your phone number, Scott. Can you? Yeah. Is it this? Blah blah blah.
So I think where possible, Brian's hanging out, and I would do the exact same thing, right? So I'm going to hang out in the area. So as people are getting done, I'm going to want to just connect with them on their way out anyways. And then while I'm there, I can just kind of offer to take the clipboard away from them, like Brian is talking about. Take a look at it. Yeah. Hey, was that a 5 or an 8? And is that Scott? Is that 2 T's or 1 T? So right. It's like Brian said, I would just do a quick scan, confirm everything, and flip it over. After they leave, make a couple of notes on some of the things that they talked about. So at the open house, so he's got the LPT box, Active Marketing Plan magazines. Is that the 100-point home marketing plan PDF?
Well, so our brokerage provides really professional looking magazines. So the Active Marketing Plan is the LPT Realty strategies behind.
Right. Okay.
Things.
Got it. Yep. And I think in lieu of that, I don't have it with me, but I would bring the 100-point home marketing plan, similar to one that you have for the listing presentations.
Yeah.
And in fact, dude, I'm so excited. We're a couple of days away from that general listing presentation that's at the account level. You're going to be able to create that for any listing that's in your account, so that instead of having some random images as your kind of default one that's available for everybody, you're going to be able to have custom image. It's going to look so much cleaner. It's going to look so much nicer here, so that you'll be able to, like, for example, upload a demo listing and then create that and have it always available for you. So anyways, that's going to be, I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
9 critical questions for a seller. What is that one?
So just a lot of these are just the LPT Realty magazines that are provided
by
the company. So just making sure that we have those. I don't have the seller one with me currently. But.
Yeah. Kind of similar. So
like
for all of you,
guide.
For the Listings to Leads clients, Brian also had one. He had a picture of the printed one, but taking those PDF flyers. Yeah. So like this one right here that he's got, all of the PDF guides in your account have a print flyer with a QR code on it. So like 5 dangers of overpricing your home, the ultimate guide to selling your home. Then there's some buyer guides. And so we've always talked about in our standard open house marketing of, take a couple of the buyer ones, take a couple of the seller ones, and then put them in the house as well. So that way when people are walking around, if they see a guide that they find interesting, they can just scan it, and you start getting double opt-in while they're still at the open house. So
right.
Nothing wrong with that at all. MLS flyers, L2L flyers, some PDF guides, like we were mentioning, the printout of nearby properties, CMA. Yeah. And again, this is all stuff that we as well talk about in our training, because like Brian said, right? I mean, getting an offer from somebody that comes by the open house, great if it happens, but it can only be one person. So you're gonna have all of these other people that may have liked the property, maybe they like the neighborhood. So the more you can talk about other listings for sale that are pending, that have recently sold, the more you can act like an expert, right? Because no one's gonna. It's not gonna be a long conversation if you show up to an open house and know nothing about the neighborhood, the sales, the pendings, the schools, right? What else is going on in the neighborhood? Maybe a local cafe or bakery. So try to learn a little bit about that neighborhood. Don't just show up cold thinking you're going to have the best experience for everybody involved if you're just going to wing it all the way through.
Yep. There's no winging it. There's nothing I hate more than being unprepared. So the other thing that with all of these things, it seems like a lot, we encourage our agents to get these accordion file folder things and build your arsenal of all the materials you may need and keep that in your vehicle. When you have an open house, you don't know who's going to show up. Is it the guy down the street that's thinking about selling his house? Is it a first-time home buyer? Is it somebody looking for Airbnbs? Like, you need to have your different options. You don't need to have 50 different things spread out over the countertop. But if somebody walks in and goes, hey, I'm interested in doing this, and you go, well, hey, I've got a valuable PDF guide, and you just pull it out of your briefcase, then you look, very prepared for the different situations.
Well, and that's what Gordon, we talked about last week about making the open house a seller showcase, right? I want any homeowner coming through, especially the homeowners, because they're the hardest ones to impress. They've already bought a home. They've probably looked at a lot of other homes, for sale and have dealt with both listing agents and selling agents. And so, a lot of homeowners are going to be pretty savvy when it comes to dealing with an agent. And so if you're just going to be another random agent that is always, just a little bit unprepared, you don't quite know of the other homes for sale or the other homes, the fact that another home literally just closed right around the corner and you don't even know that. And so when you're talking to a homeowner maybe, and you don't know all of this information, you're just not going to come across as being prepared. And I think that's part of the reason why Gordon has gotten, he gets great leads from the marketing of the open house and then the people coming through the open house and the way he's able to connect with them by just being prepared. And I love the things to do when you get there, right? Open the blinds, get some fresh air in there, flush the toilets. You got vacuum sweep bugs. Sometimes you got to wipe down the counters even, right? You don't want crumbs laying around.
Yeah.
Even if it's from the seller, even if you're borrowing the listing and it's not even your seller, it's just going to make you look like the one that was unprepared when people come through. So, and again, that's why I always show up a little bit early. For those of you that think you want to do luxury, wait till you have to show up like a half hour earlier than normal to start turning on all the lights and, getting that house prepared both ahead of and then after that open house. So, getting too big of a home can have its own issues. And you got to turn on pool waterfalls. That is
this can be the list you send to your client, right? If they live there, hey, I need you to do these things.
Oh, nice. Yeah. In fact, things to do when you get there. That might be exactly right. I think that's actually very smart. I think it'll impress the homeowner just a little bit because they know you're trying to get their home sold, right? They know it's important to have a good open house. So I would send this to the seller and just be like, hey, before you leave, maybe don't turn on the light music, but at least they can open up the blinds, make sure because trust me, the homeowner would rather be the one to flush the toilets and have somebody else do it for them.
I have a question for you, Brian. Since you don't do open house Facebook ads, what stuff do you do with the seller's sphere of influence?
Well, I still run ads. I just don't have the open house information on there.
Okay.
So he's running it as like just listed or active or coming soon. And then I think, Brian, just to clarify, so you got follow-up, right? So you generate a lead. And then in the follow-up, it's like, oh, by the way, we're having an open house on Saturday from 1 to 4.
Yeah. And part of the strategy too is, hey, we anticipate a busy open house on Saturday. If this is a property that's of interest to you, would it be advantageous to show you Thursday night or Friday night, right? I have the exclusive ability to do that because we're restricting showings for other parties. And that's part of my conversation is, hey, thanks for inquiring about this property. We are doing the open house on Saturday, but if I could get you in there prior to, would you like that? And people want what they can't get. So,
oh, dude, I like that. I like that. In my mind, yeah, I think that I can see some value. The problem is I'm going to want to do the open house. So some things I want to do with open house on it, but doing some marketing for a couple of days, maybe I do like I'm just thinking out loud. Maybe I do like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday as just listed or active. My follow-up is along the lines of what you just said. And then on Thursday, maybe I flip it to open house. And that way I can do a little bit of open house marketing. People are going to be looking on, Thursday or Friday for open houses this coming weekend that I may or may not be able to get a hold of for whatever reason. So I want them to be able to see that there is an open house. But I think that's a great idea regarding doing some marketing as just listed or active. That way my follow-up, there's something of value in my follow-up that they didn't see in the ad or they didn't see it in the post. They only heard it from me. And then to your point, if you think this might be a property that is of interest, right, it's not going to be available to the public until Saturday at 1:00, but we can possibly see if you want to get in there on a Thursday or Friday beforehand. So, but I think that's even separate. You can still market it as open house all the way through. And then in the follow-up say, hey, Saturday from 1 to 4 will be the first time it's available to the public. But if you are interested, if you think this might be a home that you really want to make sure that you see and have an opportunity to make an offer on, I can see about getting you in there on Thursday or Friday before everybody else. Because you're right. People want something that they can't. People want what not everybody else can get. And that's going to let you know if they're a little bit more serious about that property or not.
Well, yeah, right? Definitely. If they're serious buyer.
Well, and also if they've lost an opportunity to get a property previous, they'll know, man, get me in there.
All right, Brian, question on the follow-up. Okay, so you call these people up, right, from the leads. Let's say you can't get them on the phone. All right, do you leave a message? You don't?
Never leave voicemails. Now, the one voicemail strategy that we do use would be, hey, Yi, it's Brian Mathieson. Sorry I missed you. Give me a call back when you get a minute. And that's all we say.
Okay.
Because if the minute you start saying I'm a realtor and you inquired about an ad and all these things, they're not calling you back. But when I say that, hey, sorry I missed you, give me a call, they're going, who is that? And so they're going to call back.
And you don't even mention the street address?
Nope. All strategy, this checklist is built on being efficient and not forgetting things. And I analyze everything I do constantly just for efficiencies and strategy and how do we do things a little bit different than other agents. Right. So it's just all built on that. And there's blanks on this checklist for a reason so that I can add things as I need to and continue to make it even better. So what I see, and I run a team with 30 agents on it. I would tell you that even my agents that I teach this stuff to don't follow this checklist to a T. And I think that agents just struggle to implement full strategies. And there's one of my agents there, but he follows most of the list all the time, and he's having success. So.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that is the thing. I mean, I remember one time I was at a broker conference and I asked a group of brokers, I said, why did you guys decide to become brokers? Dude, this is like 2000. This is early in the history of the company. And all of their eyes just went in the back of their head. They about exploded. And it was funny because once they picked up the draw off the floor, they were like, well, we thought that we would, we were successful agents. And so we figured if we could just show our agents how to be successful, that everybody else would want to be successful. But they're like, that doesn't happen. It doesn't happen nearly enough. Yeah. And I'll tell you, in fact, this post right here, I want to make sure I put this post into the chat as well, because I think a lot of people, I don't know if they're scared, they don't have the confidence, they just, whatever it is, but that's like the post I just put in here, the struggling with Facebook ads and follow-up, right? Where Craig Johnson, who we interviewed in the top video here, Gordon Day, who we interviewed in the second video, these two videos I highly recommend for all of you, because you're going to see why most of you are absolutely failing with Facebook ads. And it has a larger, it also deals with open houses, because when you're not doing something at a high level for long enough with the right amount of effort into it, you're just dipping your toes and you're not giving yourself enough chances, right? Whether it's an open house, because Brian, some people will go, well, I went to the open house and, I did the listing flyer and I did 2 signs and I did part of it. And they're thinking, well, I should have gotten some of the, benefit of doing that. Well, here's the deal. You got to do a lot of it to start getting that pipeline filled up and to get that momentum going. And you got to do it more than once, right? You got to do it over and over and over again until you actually develop your own checklist, like what Brian did, because you're evaluating what you're doing, you're staying consistent with it. The idea of doing an ad or an activity, or even one open house, like your first or second time, maybe you're not doing it week after week, you're just not going to get the results. And then you're going to think, well, I'm special because I don't need to do the work and be consistent and really put effort into it, but yet I should expect results, when that's just not going to happen.
Right.
I know, like, whether it was Craig or Yee, you're kind of in this right now, where it's like, man, until you get that pipeline built up, until you get your checklist built up, it's going to be a little bit more work than maybe you want it to be. And you got to just work your way through that point of the process where it seems like more work than it might be worth. But when you follow a proven checklist, you just got to keep at it. So anyways,
there's some questions. What?
Yeah. Let's see here.
Yeah, we can do questions.
Tom said we have another client who emails it also, talking about the nearby homeowner letter. I think Carrie Thompson converts it into a PDF and she emails that to her database, which I thought was kind of funny. All right. Any questions for Brian or Yee or me on the call? We got about.
Let me go up.
Like 5 minutes. Oh yeah. Wow. All right. Let's see if there's any questions. Again. Oh, Brian, have you tried the commercial on the TV? Have you seen that?
No.
All right. The 100 Point Home Marketing Plan video in your Listings to Leads account?
Oh, play that on the house TV?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good idea.
So at the at listingstoleads.com/open house, you're going to see there's a video there, and there's the link to the actual videos right here. But yeah, somebody like 2 weeks ago came up with this, that he does that. And dude, I thought that was so amazing.
Put it on the checklist.
Yeah, and it's right.
Yeah.
So in Listings to Leads, when you click on Media Library, you're going to drop right into the video section by default, and the video is the very first video that displays. So it's going to be right here. There's 2 versions. There's a 5-minute version, long, and then a short version, which is like, I think 2 minutes. But just click on it, download it. So you can see here, you can download the video, then upload to your YouTube channel, and either play it on the TV or play it on a laptop, and get that in front of all those homeowners.
Absolutely. That's awesome.
Yeah. Lynn, can we get a copy of that checklist? Oh yeah, Lynn. Yeah. Here, hold on. Let me put it into the chat.
You did you?
Well, I thought Lynn worked with Brian.
You can put it in the files in the Facebook group too.
Yeah, I'll take a look at that a little bit later. Awesome. All right, Lynn, let me know if you got that or not.
I'll just share too. So eaglesexclusive.com is our kind of our support website for our group. I've got 340 agents with our company that have access to that website, and there's all kinds of downloads on that. So eaglesexclusive.com is my open book about listings and buyers and checklists and all kinds of stuff. So anybody is welcome to go there and download eaglesexclusive.com.
Cool. And then, so make sure, pre-marketing in your listings leads account. Let me show one more thing here. Let me log in real quick.
Somebody want to find out what size open house signs are the best.
So in owning the sign company, the sign on the left there is an 18 by 24. I believe the ones on the right are 20 by 20, just because they were way more cost effective to get those in bulk. We put out probably 25 to 50 signs at an open house. In this neighborhood in particular, we had 3 open houses, and Thomas put out probably 20 signs. I put out 20 signs. Another agent put out another 20. So we had signs everywhere. And so I would encourage the 18 by 24. It's one of the most common sizes for.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, all the ones that we see around here, they're almost like 18 by 18 or something. You know what I mean? They're actually even smaller than that. So I like. In fact, someone said about the Midwest. Hold on a second. Let me bring that.
Yeah, so that's Amber Munoz is on our team in Sioux City, Iowa, and so they have frozen ground. And Amber, I do have a resource for you. I'll have to see it, but I've got some heavier duty ground stakes too that we can get for you.
Yeah, okay, good. So when you add the open house, well, you can get the open house marketing checklist right on the dashboard. But for our open house mastery, where we talk about how to do the open house, how to prepare the open house, a lot of what you saw with Brian is also part of this presentation right here. I'm not going to go through it because this alone could take about an hour to do. But it's a presentation. There's also a guide, and then there's also our open house mastery checklist. And so you got the marketing checklist, which goes through the marketing of it. And then this is our version of how to prepare for the open house. And you'll see some things that are similar to what Brian had. He's got some things that we don't have, such as the survival part of it, for example, which is good. Bro, what do you need the batteries for? I think you had like 9-volt batteries.
Smoke detectors. There's always a beeping smoke detector in a vacant house. So now the challenge is you're probably not going to have the ladder to get to it, but at least you got them.
Yeah. Well, go check the garage real quick, and you might find a ladder in there if you're lucky. Actually, you know, it's funny. Our realtor, our housewarming gift from our real estate agent was actually a tall 8-foot ladder and then a 3-foot ladder as well, which I was like, that is the smartest. I'm like, you know what? Thank you so much. Because when you're moving, we're moving from out of state more or less. And, the idea that we'd have a ladder. So anyways, I thought that was awesome. Great. I was like, you know what? And it didn't even have her name on it. So I even appreciated that even more.
They'll always remember where they got it.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Yee, anything else we should cover? Brian, thank you so much for joining us.
Someone earlier just asked about putting the time on the open house signs. I don't bother with that. If anybody's curious, I'd rather them just call me or follow the directionals. So I don't personally do that. I think it's kind of goofy when people put a separate piece of paper with the address and the time on it on the signs too, and they get all wet. And these are more of like branding and just directional, right? So I feel like most consumers, when they go out on Saturday morning, they probably already know where they're going. They already have it mapped. Like these are like, they're not trying to get all the information from the signs.
Well, and also just people, if you got a little bit of time, and like I said before, you might not even be actively looking to buy a home or sell a home right now. But if you're starting that path and you got some extra time, I've gone by open houses just because I see the sign like this. And, if the agent has a good presentation there, good to engage, and someone's thinking about buying or selling, man, I think it's a phenomenal way to pick up more business out of that. I would just make sure you want to take them down as quickly as possible afterwards, so people don't start driving around, 2 to 3 hours later. So don't leave the signs up for too long after the open house is over with.
Exactly. Yeah, we take them down right afterwards.
Yeah.
One thing, I don't know what our time looks like too, Scott, and you and I talked about this last week. I call this the open house traffic stealing strategy. So, my personal opinion, I'd rather be on the golf course on a Saturday. And so I work really hard during the week. I'd like to take the weekends off. But what if you could capture open house traffic during the week? And so I've built landing pages that offer the list of open houses for the weekend.
Oh yeah, in fact, I was looking at that earlier today. Did you put the list in the chat?
I did.
So yeah.
I put the link to the landing page, and this kind of goes along with what we were talking about earlier. Is if the consumer is going to go out looking this weekend, and you can provide the list to them ahead of time, yes, they're probably going to go to the open houses and potentially speak with the other agent. But my goal is to have the conversation with them first. And so, I'm going to send them the list, and then I'm going to give them a call, and I'm going to say, hey, did you get the list? By the way, there's a lot of properties there. We have a lot of open houses in our market. How can I narrow this list down for you? What's your main area? What's the price point? Tell me the details. And would you find it advantageous if I could get you into the properties on Thursday or Friday before the crowd on Saturday? The consumer that tells their story, or let's flip this. So the agent that gets the consumer's story first wins the client. The client does not want to tell their story to multiple people. So if I can get into conversation with people about what their goals are and what their motivation is to move, I can build rapport before they go out and venture out to these properties. And I can send them a buyer rep agreement prior to then, and say, go see all the open houses to your heart's desire, and let me know which one you want to write an offer on, if that's the case. But
so when somebody fills this landing page out, they don't get any kind of list until they re-engage you on price point, like price range, more specific locations? Because to your point, otherwise I'd be sending you way too many open houses to really deal with.
So what I do is, on our IDX website, I run a search for whatever the landing page says here. So Montgomery, Texas. I run a search, and then I select open houses on our private IDX website, and I send them that dynamic link. And so I learned a long time ago to go ahead and just give people what they're looking for or what they inquired about. And so I do send them the list, but I'm going to call them, as quickly as possible, and just, hey, thanks for reaching out about our open house list for Montgomery, Texas. Did you get it? That's my primary call. And, hey, Jim, while I've got you, let me help you narrow down that list. What's your price range? How many beds and baths are you looking for? And then I just dive into, if I could show you any of these properties before the weekend, before the crowds, would you find that advantageous? And they go, yeah, it sounds great. So.
I like that part about showing you before the open house. Again, right? People want to get what not everybody else has. And so, talking about what is your price range, knowing the inventory so that you can actually, and hopefully pretty quickly, bring up a home that might kind of fit the profile that they're sharing with you. And then, offering to get them in there before, the rest of the unwashed masses, right? The entire public gets in there. Let me see if I can get you in there first. I think that's definitely a smart idea.
And then I love these countdown timers. It creates some urgency. So I always set that countdown timer, through like Sunday at 4 p.m. Right? That's when the open houses are going to be over.
Yep. And that's what Brian said a little earlier about the first person they tell their story to is going to will be the one that gets the business. And that's exactly what we were just saying the other day, which is, when you call a lead, don't even try to pre-qualify them at the beginning, right? Address the reason why they came in. But yeah, the first always, Yi and I were talking, it's just like, get them to open up, right? Get them to start talking about, what they want just in general. Because and it's almost exactly the same way Brian phrased it. Though Brian, you phrased it a little bit better, which is, the first person that just kind of goes through and, let them talk for 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 minutes. They're not going to want to do that again. And they're going to so identify with you because of the way you made them feel, that you didn't start off with are you pre-qualified? You're trying to pre-qualify someone that doesn't have the time of day for you, right? They're not interested in talking to you. They don't know who you are. So if you can get them to open up and just start sharing maybe what they're thinking about as far as what their dream home might look like, or just anything about themselves, you're much more likely to get them as a client. And you're finding that out as well.
Well, I have no problem talking to people when I have them on the phone, but I think I need to go back and modify my either phone script, or because I was leaving a message, like I was told, "Oh, this is Yi. I'm calling regarding list." Because I was told to have that script. Maybe I need to go back and change it. So
you're having pretty good luck, I think, talking to people.
Well, no, but when I leave a message, but to Brian's point, like when they hear that, they immediately lose interest, or maybe most people don't even listen to the voicemail. I don't know.
There are certain questions when you're either face to face, like at an open house, or even calling some of these opportunities. There are certain questions that you haven't earned the right to ask yet because you haven't built enough rapport. I talk about commission breath all the time. Stop throwing up commission breath all over everybody. Like, call somebody and act like they're your friend. Hey, how's it going? What's got you thinking about moving? Too many people get right on the phone and they're like, are you ready to buy a house? Are you here for a new home? Like, stop doing that stuff. Build some rapport and some relationship with people. And then that allows you to ask the deeper questions, about their financial situation, or, personal things. I mean, there's a lot of personal things that happen in real estate, and people aren't willing to open up unless they feel like they can trust you.
Right. So, which makes me think that maybe we need to take a look at the AI text follow-up again and, make it a bit, it's already great, but Scott, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, a little bit. But, and to me, that just dovetails almost perfectly the way Gordon Day said it, which is, he calls once a day, and everyone's going to be different. So I know some of the 3x3x3 for, 30 days or whatever it is. But Gordon's like, if you have enough leads coming in, then, I don't need to be stressed on every single lead that I'm calling, because I know I got more leads coming in today. I got more leads coming in tomorrow, right? I know I've got new leads coming in all the time. So I don't have to overly stress and try to pre-qualify everything out of, having, again, like what Brian said, commission breath, because when you're only generating 1 or 2 leads a day, man, every lead that comes in just feels like you got to hold on to it so tight that you're going to actually kill it. So, and again, that gets back into if you're not spending enough money on Facebook ads, if you're not doing open houses at the right level and doing the activities around an open house that actually are going to bring more people in and engage people, you're just dipping your toes. You're just wasting your time and you're wasting your money, right? I mean, you got to take, it's like working out, it's like dieting, it's like everything else. You can't just dip your toe. You can't just kind of sort of do it and expect the results that you're looking for. You got to go all in and really just make it happen. So, Brian, thank you for hanging out with us, dude.
Absolutely. Love it.
And I love this open house landing page. So this is a custom landing page from Listings to Leads. I'll do a little video later on how to do something like this. But yeah, if you're a client of ours, this looks like it's one of the custom buyer landing pages in your Listings to Leads account. And you set every week you can reset the countdown counter to like the next Sunday at 5 o'clock. And this is an awesome idea. I love it. Thank you.
One thing I noticed, and as much as I use listings to leads, there's things I still catch. This, as an ad, was opening up a form, and the very first question was, what's your time frame to buy? And that was misleading because that's not what the ad said. So I did find that I could adjust in listings to leads the form
field. Yeah.
So
yeah,
not knowing that, but I did fix it.
Yeah. So you know how to do, so when you do like a lead ad, you can actually cut that question out altogether, or you can change it to whatever you want. Yeah, I don't do a lot of training in that because I know most people, if I were to show how to change that lead form, they would think that they have to do it, and it would probably make a lot of people not even look at it. But for anyone that's on this call, what Brian's talking about here is when you're doing a standard Facebook ad. This could be a seller ad, a buyer ad, landing page, PDF guide. It could really be almost anything. If you go to advanced options, you got so create new form. So the form is that Facebook lead form, right? So what's your time frame to buy, your name, email, phone number. So when I click it here, we got form questions. And here we got name, email, and phone number. And what is your time frame to buy? So I can turn that's the first one. I can turn that off. I don't have to add anything. If I wanted to, I could add a custom one, I believe. Or no, maybe you can't do custom, but we have a lot of other options right here. So what's your time, I'm working with a lender, what's your time frame to buy? What's your desired price range? Right, that might be one that you add. So whatever, but just so that you can see where you can edit that form. Because sometimes it's not needed or appropriate to have that first question in there.
Well, I haven't earned the right to ask that yet. They were looking for an open house list. I'm not going to jump into their time frame to buy. So
yeah, I mean, the only thing I might add in there, although I do like to try to get it in the follow-up maybe because it gives them more reason to reach back out to me. But again, might be what price range are you looking for, or what location are you looking for? But that's also the kind of stuff I would rather ask and follow up, because then it can get them maybe to reach back out and either text or call me back, so that they're not going to want 165 listings sent to them. They're going to want 3 to 10 that are relevant to them, and not everything.
You bet.
Yep. All right, you good? Anything else you want to share?
No, I'm good. I think one of the somebody on the calls want to get your open house signs or some.
It might have been one of my agents. I've gotten.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you guys can reach out.
Too, but anybody can reach out to me. I can order signs for you.
Yeah, you can also I'll put this in the chat. So in the mastermind group, if you find Brian's post here about the signs, go ahead and just comment right there, and then you'll be able to, you can get Brian just on Facebook as well, obviously.
Yep.
But you can find it right here. And
I'd just like to give just a closing thought. So listings to leads, guys, is amazing. I have used this platform for, I don't know, Scott, 12 or 13 years. And the key to it is consistency. And whether you're using any type of platform, you've got to just get in there and use it consistently. Listings to leads is not going to create contracts for you, but it is an amazing marketing tool that's going to create limitless opportunities for your business. And the follow-up is critical. I don't know what the stats are, but it's crazy how most agents will stop contacting somebody after 2 or 3 attempts, and 80% of the conversions happen between 7 and 12 attempts. And you've got to just stick with it. You've got to be consistent and do the activities. I'd like to challenge an agent to just focus on open houses and work Wednesday to Sunday every week, or Wednesday to Saturday even. And if you did 36 open houses with my checklist, with the L2L checklist, and doing them consistently and having consistent follow-up, I can almost guarantee 30 to 36 transactions a year. And
yeah,
you just got to be
consistent.
Okay.
I tell any agent that's trying to really ramp up their business, dude, follow our training on how to do Facebook ads, right? So you're trying to get up to about 100, 125 a week in your Facebook ad budget. And then if you do one open house a week to start with, especially if you're trying to get your pipeline built up, dude, Gordon, who we both know, he's doing 3 to 4 open houses a weekend. And I asked him, I said, well, how long do you plan on doing that for? And he goes, I'm not going to do it forever, right? But he goes, I want to get my pipeline. And you know what? It can take me a year to get where I want to be at, or it can take me 3 to 4 months to get where I want to be. I don't want to wait a year. I want to get there fast. And so, when a lot of you are thinking about this, you don't have to do open houses every weekend forever. But if your business if you're not getting the transactions that you're thinking that you should be getting, then you know what? I would double up and triple up on doing open houses, as much as possible until my business is where I want it to be at. And you'll get better every single one that you do if you pay attention to our checklist, a checklist like what Brian has. But the key is stop winging it, stop showing up unprepared, stop dipping your toes in the water. Either you're going to commit and you're going to commit to getting better. You'll find it's a lot simpler than a lot of these other gurus and coaches talk about, because sometimes I think people love to just throw more shit at agents to overcomplicate things when it's not that hard, right?
Yep.
I know we're running out of time. I actually really want to ask Brian a question.
Yeah.
Like, if you get a buyer, they fill out the form. I know you said you have not earned, right? Let's assume, okay, somebody says, I'm going to buy like in 3 to 6 months or versus 6 to 12 months. How would the call will be? I assume the call will be different.
I mean, I think you've always got to dive deeper into the response, say, I can appreciate waiting 3 to 6 months, but, just out of curiosity, what's keeping you from purchasing in the short term? A lot of the questions, like when I'm messaging some of these contacts and they say, we're going to wait, right? For example, and I was texting a guy earlier today about this, and I said, I understand. Is it interest rates or closing costs that are keeping you from doing something today? And I added to that so that I wasn't like prying, and I said, I'm just curious. We may have solutions. And with new construction the way it is today, there's my daughter, for example, is buying a house right now that's 3.99% interest rate, and she wouldn't have been able to buy the house at 6.5 or 7%. And so sometimes people presume that they can't do an activity,
do something.
And we've got to dig a little bit deeper. I don't really take what people say to me to as an end all. I'm always digging deeper. I drive my agents crazy because I ask a lot of questions.
I love that. Okay, thank you so much for that.
You get people to open up, and sometimes you have the solution that they don't know exists.
Right. If you don't ask deeper, you wouldn't know.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. One last thing. Can we just say one more thing to me? I didn't remember. Like, okay, leave that voicemail, the first voicemail. I want to just write it down one more time. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, what you say in the voicemail?
Hey, it's Brian Mathieson. Sorry I missed you. Give me a call back at this number.
Okay.
Because they think that they called you and you called them back and left a message.
All right. So you try that out.
Your
that's what I'm going to do.
Or a property and all this stuff. They're not calling you back. I promise.
Right. I know. And I want to get them on the phone. Then I can have deeper conversations.
Sometimes I'll call and then send a text message.
Okay.
Hey, I'm just getting back to you. It's Brian, right? And
right. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much.
At some point, we'll get you on a call to share more. Because to be honest, I've been impressed.
I think you are excellent when it comes to follow up. You really need to teach people the things you're saying. Like, whoa, okay. Like, it seems so simple, but yet it's really hitting the target. It's like the psychological barrier has been broken.
I got a funny closing story. So I hired my first buyer's agent in 2014, and Mike was this guy's name. And as we started growing our team, agents would come aboard and they'd get leads, and they'd go to Mike and say, these leads are bad. And Mike would always say, don't ever tell Brian the leads are bad. And because they're just not having the right conversations or the right number of reps. I kind of question it. Am I just lucky, or do I just, I'm not the best at this, and I'm not certainly not lucky, but I'm willing to do the work and make those contacts. If you generate 100 leads on listings to leads, the goal is to find the 3 or 4 that are going to do something in the next 12 months. It's not, you've got to be able to get through the 96 that say no. And it's okay. Every bad number that I get is one less dial I have to make.
Right.
Yeah. And we're finding, for whether it's Gordon or Craig or Yee, I know, watching your leads, you're getting 75 to 80% or more good phone numbers. And like Brian said, it's just, you get the people that are going to be inconsistent, that aren't going to pay attention, that aren't going to try to get better, are the ones that are just constantly just trying to get that wheel turning. So anyways, I think we've already said everything we need to say. We could be here till midnight.
Yeah, I know. So awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Brian, thank you, man.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Brian. Thank you so much. And have a good night. I know it's late in Houston. So
thank you so much. All right. Thank you everybody for joining us. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Take care.
Okay. Bye.